podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Social Media Derby. We've got episode 135. We'll be going through and reviewing Arsenal's penalty loss in the Champions League final to PSG. We'll also be giving out our post-season, end-of-season awards for Premier League now that the season's wrapped up, 25-26. And then we'll also be revealing our World Cup draft. So we'll obviously be chatting about the World Cup that'll be starting next week. And we'll be revealing the 4 teams that we've each got a support throughout the World Cup, and we'll be doing predictions on one of those teams as well weekly for everyone's pleasure. But before we get into the pod, for those watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, share if you can. And for those listening on Spotify, Apple, or the other podcasting platforms, please follow, give us a 5-star review. And as usual, the views expressed in the pod are just entertainment or jokes, nothing real, doesn't reflect any opinions of any other people or organizations. Let's get into it, lads. I've got Jonty, I've got Io here. Khem should be joining in a bit. We potentially may have dropping in from Reese and Razor, but let's see how it goes. How you man doing? A little bit more disappointing vibe than the last pod that we had, obviously after the back of you winning the Premier League. How are you lot doing?
Speak for yourself. We've been to parade. I'm not sure about you, but I'm still riding high off the parade. But yeah, no, it was obviously it's not the best it could have been, but still happy. And as Io said very wisely on the last podcast, the Champions League was just a bonus at that point.
It was. Initial disappointment on the Saturday was heartbreak, but Sunday, the parade was a nice antidote and a realization of still exactly that was the goal. We achieved the goal, so no, still on a high, still happy. To be fair, I'm actually a bit of a post Arsenal downer this entire week. I've just not felt positivity anymore like the last 2 weeks. It's a weird place to be. It's what winning feels like. It's amazing.
But you've also had like one real organized parade, 2 other big gatherings. So probably feels a bit weird not having another big celebration every few days, considering how many you lot have had in the last 10 days to a week. So yeah, I get it. But it is the end of the season now. Obviously, we've got to run through the actual game. I know it was 4 or 5 days removed, but the actual game ended 1-1. Kai Havertz opening the scoring in the 5th or 6th minute. I had you lot dreaming of potential double. And I think we'll get into it, but a really good first half from you lot. Got the tactics on point. PSG had a lot of the ball, didn't do much. Second half, things started kind of similar, but then, within 10, 15 minutes, I think the game started to change a little bit. PSG had a little bit more space, and then comes, I think, the big incident, late in the 50th to 60th minute or so. Mosquera makes a silly challenge on Kvaratskhelia, and the penalty is given, which Dembele tucks away, to be fair, and it's 1-1. Then there's a bunch of incidents which we can go through in more detail, but I think the main one, I guess, is the Madueke penalty, not penalty in extra time, but doesn't get given, and then it goes all the way to penalties. And the heartbreak, Eze misses, and then obviously Gabriel misses the last penalty to give PSG the Champions League title. They go back to back. I think Real Madrid are the only other team in this modern Champions League or version of the European Cup that have gone back to back. So it's very rare, but you pushed them right to the end. So, Johns, what did you make of the game overall? Because there's there's a lot of narratives out there based on how much possession you guys had, how many passes, how many shots on target, etc. But there's also obviously a lot of Arsenal fans and neutrals that have said you guys carried out the tactics to a T. Where do you fall on it?
I think I fall in the latter camp. I think it was exactly what I think most of us expected it to be in terms of how we would set up. I think the first half was more successful than the second half. I think the big thing that changed a lot for me in the second half, at least from the beginning part of it onwards, was that we began to press them a lot higher up the pitch. And obviously, when you do that, the rest of your kind of midfield line, your back line will press up slightly higher as well. And that will open up some space and some gaps. And I think that was when they started being able to play some triangles around us. And that's where they started to get into slightly more dangerous positions. And that's essentially what led to, I think, the Mosquera mistake to give that penalty away, right? It was like a little triangle around. I can't remember if it was him. I think it was him and Saka or someone similar getting behind him. And then obviously he's not goal side of Kvaratskhelia. And there's not much he can do about it. Obviously, it'd be better if he didn't jump in, but at the same time, knowing the kind of form that Kvaratskhelia is in, he could easily have put that across the box and they could have scored from it, right? So obviously, you'd prefer that Mosquera doesn't take the risk and just allows that to happen. But at the same time, we could be sat here saying something very similar about, oh, why didn't you try and tackle him? Or, oh, we've let in a goal. So from that point of view, I'm not too bothered. I think overall, we set up in the right way in the first half. I think the lineup was good. The way that we set up in general was really, really good in terms of kind of not trying to press them, just letting them have the ball and letting them trying to come into a very congested space. And they didn't seem to be able to do anything with it. So when it comes to the argument about like possession, this, that, and the other, I mean, did any of you lot see the second leg of Bayern against PSG? Because if I remember correctly, they did something very similar. They scored early and then they basically shut up shop. Had, I think, 38% or 37% possession for the rest of the game. And then obviously Bayern go and get that kind of late goal. But I don't remember anybody calling them out and telling me that they were negative football this, negative football that. So I think we did what we're supposed to do. I think we stifled PSG, but I also think that we made PSG look not great. You know, for everybody screaming everything about PSG being such an unbelievable team, being so good on the ball. I can't remember the number of crosses that Dembele slapped for a goal kick. I can't remember the number of times that they got basically nowhere near shooting on the goal, just playing things around, playing them back. They didn't really have many chances at all. And I think Gabriel particularly, but also Saliba, was rock solid at the back. There were a couple of challenges where I was like, what are you doing? You know, in the box as an example, but he ended up putting in unbelievable challenges. And I think we were just defensively extremely solid. But as soon as we started pressing high up and creating more space, that gave them the opportunity to kind of force a mistake from us. And then when it was 1-1, I don't think we had the momentum on our side to go and score another goal. So we knew it was going to go down to penalties. And that's where I'd probably say, you know, I'm sure I was going to mention it, but some of the kind of in-game decision-making was a little strange in terms of some of the players that we took off, some of the players that we brought on. And then essentially the 11 that we finished the game with, I'm not sure that would be what I would consider the 11 that I would want to go into a penalty shootout with. At the same time, I understand that he's got to make sure it actually gets the penalties in the first place, right? And if we've got a bunch of people that are absolutely flagging and they're bringing on Barcola, this, that, and the other, I can kind of understand why Arteta would say, well, you know what, I just need to keep fresh legs, even if that puts me in a worse position for the penalty shootout. And I'm going to be honest with you, it was not because of talent that we lost that penalty shootout. It was because of bottle, and it was because of not being there before. So when Eze missed his, I'll be honest with you, I think too many things were going on in his head. It's not an easy place to be. We lost both of the tosses. They went first, and we had to shoot in front of their crowd, which I didn't even know that they changed that. But you get Eze, who's, let's be honest, not played at this level in his career yet, having to come out and take a penalty, doing the starter step, ending up being too square on the ball and then absolutely flopping it. It wasn't even close. And the goalkeeper literally did not even have to make a save. And then, of course, the same thing for Gabriel. My annoyance with that is I love Gabriel for actually standing up and saying, you know what, I'm going to fucking take one. But where the fuck was the rest of our attackers? Like, why aren't one of our midfielders? I'm not even going to like single out Madueke, but like Zubimendi, there were other people that were on the pitch. There were left backs and right backs that you'd expect to be better at penalty taking than a centre back let's be honest, Gabriel is not the most natural looking kicker of a ball, right? He's a true centre back. I don't understand why none of them are standing up and saying, oh, fuck it, I'm going to take one. So, yeah, anyway, I mean, overall, I'm not too disappointed. I think we set up well. I think there were a couple of questionable decisions. All I can ever say, though, is when we make mistakes, we seem to learn from them shortly afterwards. And as you've seen with Man City, as you've seen with PSG, very rarely does a team come in and win it their first time, right? I think it's just like the Premier League. We need to get over the hump with that as well. Hopefully we come back again next year. We put in a good, show in and we get to a similar place, and hopefully we get it over the line next time. But I'm not massively heartbroken. PSG, as everyone says, are the best they are the best team in the world from the point of view of like a total football approach. I still think we're the best defensive football team in the world. But when you're looking at Dembele, when you're looking at Kvaratskhelia, when you're looking at Barcola, Doué, etc., Vitinha, João Neves, Fabian Ruiz, who's an absolute shithouse, and all these dons, I can't argue with it too much.
Yeah, fair enough. I obviously similar question to you, but also one thing I think that was also mentioned by quite a few different pundits, but also a little bit in the group chat as well, is just about Mikel Arteta's in-game management, some of the subs. I know you wanted to get Eze on earlier, and he chose to only bring him on quite late in the game. Do you think that the in-game management had an impact on the performance? Because we've all mentioned, Jonty especially as well, but also me in the intro segment, that the first half was flawless, and the second half things got a little bit, there were some dodgy moments in there. Do you think that his in-game management had a impact on that, or do you think it was just the game state shifting?
I think a bit of both. I think taking off MLS, I just don't think you need to. Obviously, he might be tired, his legs might be getting a bit, but I think taking off MLS, I didn't like that happening. I think he's having a great game. I think he should, not just like out of a bias thing or because I like him so much, but I think he's having such a great game. And obviously, I think even a tight like a 60% or left of energy, MLS is still going to give you more than how much minutes you're going to give Zubi. And maybe might not take a penalty, but you never know. He might be a bit more confident. I think he's so fearless in that regards. You never know what he would have done. And I just think a lot of the subs, I think just simply make I think bring on Eze earlier would have been nice. Maybe just give him a bit more time to get into the game. I think Eze from the bench is just I just don't really like Eze from the bench. I think you start him, then you take him off, and maybe that. Like obviously Odegaard, I was always thinking he was going to start Odegaard. Unfortunately, once he came fit, but I think if you start Eze, it might be indifferent. And then if you take Eze off and you bring in Odegaard, I think that might be better for us because he brings that energy, presses a bit more. But yeah, I think Arteta and his in-game, I think that's his own. I think honestly that's his flaw. I think he just makes decisions at times where it's like either let things play out a bit longer to kind of see how we're going, or he lets people stay on the pitch a bit too long when they shouldn't. And so I think it's just constantly things like that. Like I think even with Mosquera, obviously when I think Saka got booked or Mosquera got booked, there was a time you could just see a period in time where you could see Mosquera was getting panicky, and you could see that he was kind of
got booked quite early.
Yeah, like that early booking. Obviously, you don't take him off straight away, but you kind of just sense that they were just going to target him going forward no matter what, because they just knew that you couldn't do much. He's going to be playing on thin ice. And so I think if he addressed that a bit earlier, he knows what could happen. Obviously, I think the blame does lie straight on Mosquera. I don't know why he dived in. Kvaratskhelia was it in no man's land, but I'd much rather him have a shot from that angle and trust Raya or trust Saliba's going to come across and block it, then you dive in on a tackle that's never going to be a good tackle from behind. But yeah, overall, I agree with everything what John said. It was just frustrating. I think the Madueke pen, I think in the moment I was like, it's a pen, but the more I see, I'm just like, what? I feel like it could have been either sell it a bit better, and the way that ref was moving as well, we weren't getting anything that was 50-50. So I feel like you just had to. I think it was a bit too, 50-50 to actually get a pen. And another gripe was the fact he only had one shot on target. I think that's completely unacceptable in any way or form. Like, I get the tactic was to just stifle them and to kind of just be solid and be hard to break down, which is fine. And I understand it. And as John said, yeah, the Bayern PSG second leg, they did the exact same thing to PSG. But to not offer, like, we offered something going forward. I think like Havertz had a chance again in the first half where he kind of makes a nice run, he gets in, and his first touch just offers so much of the ball to the defender, and his shot gets blocked. And it's just little things like that.
I think Gyökeres had a it wasn't really a proper chance, but yeah, he had a deflected one that looked like it was going on target too. But yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. We didn't really have too many chances.
Yeah, I think that's the sad part, because obviously I know our attack might not be the best, but to get into a game and leave the game with one shot on target and one goal, I think they were saying the keeper made no saves, obviously. Like, just test him, like, just give him something to think about. Like, I don't think it had to. And I think that is Arteta's problem. Maybe he doesn't trust our attacking talent, which I don't think he does, obviously. And then there's a pass where we had a counter attack, I think, in extra time, where Martinelli has such a not an easy ball, but it's a pass you just need to make, man, and give it to Madueke and just let him run onto it, and he just overhits it completely and kind of just summed up our attack, because it was just like, if the roles were reversed and that was PSG counter attacking on us, you know that pass is going to get into the feet of Doué or Dembele, and it's going to be a chance for them. But like, I think that's where you saw the goal from quality. And yeah, it was disappointing. I was sad. It was a very solemn evening after we lost. And then the penalties, as Gabriel, I got no blame on Gabriel. As you know, I'm a very big Eze fan, so that pen miss was a lot of goodwill that the boy had brought up in me that just kind of just drained out of me in that instant, which was sad. And so yeah, man, it is what it is. We'll be back. I think as John said, like, it's building blocks. You build us, like, we technically were undefeated as a crap copium. Like, we want a cult player, technically undefeated. So we just need to build on from where we are. Like, we never thought we'd be in position so long. And yeah, like 12 years ago, we were getting beat 10-2 to Bayern Munich. So like, you just need to think about it.
It was a good Champions League campaign overall from us. We didn't win it, of course, but I mean, I can't say that going into that at the beginning of the season that I wouldn't have been happy with the campaign that we put together for the Champions League. Right? Of course, when you get that close to winning it, you want to win it, right? Like, you don't enter the Champions League or any knockout tournament just to fucking participate, right? Not to quote Chelsea fans too much, but from that point of view, you don't want to, like, you're not going into this to get a runners-up medal. But I think overall, I am proud or happy about how we've kind of put together the Champions League campaign, and you know, I'm. The only thing that not worries me, but is like, how long can you bank on Real Madrid being shit? How long can you bank on Barcelona being shit? How long can you bank on some of those other, like, real key teams being shit? Like, I know that we know our league quite well, and we know that there's a lot of shit changing in terms of City, Liverpool, Chelsea, etc., Man United even, right? But not that they're not the ones I'm worried about, but when you look at the fucking European giants on the other side of the ocean, right? When you look at the Barças, the PSGs, the Real Madrids, you're thinking, well, I don't know how much, like, especially when you've got Jose Mourinho coming into Real Madrid now. He's like a fucking knockout specialist as well. It does get a bit long, but like I said, we've got to trust in the process still. I think we would have said many similar things about, you know, other times too, when we looked at, you know, the City transition period or the Klopp to Slot transition period. You know, we would have said, oh, we've got to take our chance, etc., etc., and we somewhat did. So I'm not too, you know, downhearted about all of this, but yeah, that is one thing that weighs in my mind a little bit. It's what are those teams going to look like next year? I'm
with you, because my only concern would be, I don't want us to be the 2020 version of, like, Dortmund. Because, like, they were so good in Champions League. They got there, but they just never could get over the line. And it was just always, as you said, the other teams were just, like, they'd have a good Champions League run, and then they'd have a good league run, but then they get to that final hurdle and they just wouldn't make it over. And yeah, the fact that people like Royce never got, like, a Champions League, I don't want that to be the case for us. So I think, completely, you can't bank on the fact that Barca and Madrid have been not disappointed. Yeah, not disappointing, but they've not been their usual self.
Madrid definitely have been disappointing. They've been European-wise.
They both have. But they both have. But Barca should never be knocked out by Atletico Madrid. I know they were knocked out in the Cup as well by them and in the Champions League. But Barca are definitely a better team than Atletico Madrid. No, it's not. It's not horrendous. It's not shocking. But if you think about Real Madrid, they also got knocked out by, who was it again? Bayern, right? That's not that bad either.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
they're us. It's not shocking. It's respectable stuff. But because of their pedigree, like Jonty's saying, it's 100% true. And I would say it's the truth across both leagues, but definitely more so the foreign leagues. Those guys don't allow more than one season of like trophyless. For them, that's like a famine. And Real Madrid have had 2 seasons, and they've already signed 2 players. Say what you want about Konate. I think Dumfries is a good signing. They've signed 2 players already. They'll sign more. They're bringing in Mourinho, like you said. Barca have got, again, we say what we want about Gordon, but they've gone and got that done quickly, and they're looking to get Alvarez and do whatever their strange tactics around that. Like the other European giants will be back around, but I still think you'll be in the mix next year, because I think the Dortmund comparison is I understand where you're coming from, but Dortmund were still more flary than you are. And I actually think that actually having a solid base in the defense that you've got, the goalkeeper, big up Razor, he's just joined, the midfield as well for the most part, is a good base to build on, right? And then you can go and you can go and find attackers that can take you over the line. But there's no doubt about it. This final was what we expected if we just like took away, because in the group chat I was saying, I've got a weird feeling Arteta might go mad and he might actually attack this. And obviously I was proven wrong immediately. As soon as he got the goal, he just went to straight, 2 blanks of 4, and it was working. But it showed exactly what the strengths were. And it showed that if you have a really strong defense, and I'm not taking away anything when I say this, it's a lot easier to defend really well than it is to create loads and loads of chances constantly. So you had the better of them. And if it wasn't for a little mistake from Mascara, which, I know I'm saying little, but it cost you a lot in the game, no doubt you were going to win that 1-0. And I think that was his tactic. I don't know if he thought Havertz would score it that easy and it would come in that way, but I did think the way he thought the highest odds of winning that game is keep things defensively, really, really shut and nick a goal somewhere.
The first 65 minutes of the game would have gone perfectly to what he would have hoped that plan would have been. But I would say when he set it up for the game, he definitely didn't think we were going to be as clinical as what Havertz ended up being, right? So I think he was probably planning for it to probably go into a similar places to where it did go in the end anyway. The only other thing I was going to say just on the European stuff is I don't want to bang on this point too much, but we really have to understand also that Real Madrid and Barcelona and Bayern and PSG, they can all take their leagues off from about fucking March for the most part. Maybe less so with Real and Barca because they do typically fight it out a bit more. But just the gap in competition between the top teams and the rest of the teams really is so much bigger. And if you look at the Real Madrid squad, if you look at the Bayern squad, etc., this is the thing that I guess worries me. And the only other thing I was going to say, the last thing I was going to say is, it does really hammer home the point to me, though, that defense is great. And Arteta has shown that you can control a game without actually touching the ball, which is mental, right? Out of possession, you can still control a game. And I think that is what he did in the first 45 minutes. I know that we didn't have the ball, but we were definitely the ones that were controlling where the ball went and how it was going to be played. My bigger problem, though, is banking on that plus a little bit of clinical, like being clinical up front, is a risky strategy to play. Right, in a knockout competition. In a league competition, I can see it because overall it's going to revert to the mean, right? And on average, if you're better than the other team and you can control the game in that way, then you will more often than not win. But in a knockout competition, I do think it favors the more attacking teams that can go out and just score more than you can. And that's what I think makes a lot of sense in terms of the fact that PSG have done really well these last 2 years. Barcelona, yes, this year a bit stinky, but last year that game against PSG, they were doing really well, and I do think that people had a lot of doubts over them and Flick. No, I'm talking Barca. But like, remember when? No, I know, but last year didn't they get knocked out by PSG in like that crazy like back and
it was
forth?
Inter. It was Inter. It was
Inter.
Barca.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry. But anyway, my point is like there were a lot of questions I think over Hansi Flick and that Barcelona team in the context of a European competition, and they showed that even with that crazy ass high line, having players like Yamal and these dons, you can always be in it, and you can always do something in these types of competitions. So I do think that it kind of solidified to me that we are going to need slightly better attacking talent, and we are going to need to also, not only defensively try and control the game, but we're going to need to score more in order to really like. Don't get me wrong, we could luck out and win it still, but I think the chances of that happening are significantly lower than actually developing like a dominant attacking force, combining that with the kind of defensive talent that we've got. So yeah, hopefully that will be one of the big changes. But I do think Mikel kind of came out and said in his press conference after the game, like, we need to kick on. And I think it was specifically a message to Josh Kroenke and Nemman, like, we need to go out and still spend big, and we still need to go out and get like an unbelievable left winger, a better striker, etc., etc. But yeah, let's hope it actually does happen. But yeah, overall not too sad.
No, I agree with you. Before I throw it over to quickly for Razor to jump in on the point, you remember back in the day, people used to always describe certain teams as cup teams, right? Like, they would not necessarily be the most consistent over. You lot are one of the strongest league teams I've ever seen because of the point you just made. And maybe that's why you always finish top of the Champions League phase as well. And then when it gets to the knockout part, it's a trickier thing, because in pure knockout competition, it is about the flair. It's about the off the cuff moments. It's because you literally just need to, what the goal is. You've just got to win one game or maybe two games in some of these Champions League fixtures. So it's very clear what the goal is. And in the league phase, you've got to kind of try and think about the long-term vision and how you're going to get there and whatever. And I do think that has a lot to do with the way your team's set up. And yeah, for you to, I think, take the Champions League, because I think you can S-house it, which you guys very nearly did in terms of the style of play in that. You see, most of the time, if we look at Champions League as an example, I can't remember many ugly football, in air quote, kind of teams that managed to S-house it through. Maybe Chelsea a few times they won it. Chelsea, yeah, but
that final they definitely shithoused that.
Yeah, but I mean, in the run, leading up, they had some good wins and they played quite attacking and stuff like that. And generally that will get you to the promised land with that. But interesting time. I think you definitely see attack is where you lot need to improve. And I think that's what you'll do. Razor, quickly before we wrap up the Arsenal segment, what do you make of it? Do you think that, because we didn't talk about the penalty selection as well, because you make a good point, Jonty, earlier. Zubimendi, Madueke, I know what you say, they haven't been in great form recently, especially with Zubimendi, but you would kind of expect them to step up before a Gabriel. What do you make of that? Do you think it was a bad decision, or do you think they just went with who felt up for it?
I think there's always going to be this discourse after you lose a penalty shootout about order and who stepped up to take a pen. I know the one that knocked United out of the cup this season, for example, we had a lot of chat in the group chat and on the pod about who was and wasn't taking pens and who should be. And I think it's always going to be that thing, if you've played not just football, but any kind of sport, when it gets to that kind of crunch time decision, there is that little team huddle, and it kind of depends on what kind of dressing room you have, what kind of manager you have. And I reckon, just with some of the discussions that we've had and lots of Arsenal fans have had about who wears the armband, I reckon Arteta strikes me as the kind of manager that would let players volunteer themselves and be I want to have that responsibility and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? To a certain extent, in my opinion, I don't know whether taking off. I understand that, you don't want to injure players, World Cup here and stuff, but yeah, we took off some quality penalty takers, and we had some quality penalty takers like around the squad that could have been involved in that. I think we should have been planning for that, especially if we're looking to S-house our way to the cup, as you were saying. You know what I mean? Penalties, extra time is a likelihood there. So yeah, a little bit disappointed in that, but let's be honest, yeah, it's not like out of all of the, I don't think any of us were like super like, oh no, Gabriel's taking a penalty, this is terrible, as he was walking up. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's got a good like sort of like nose for goal. He could definitely strike a ball. I think it's only after he doesn't score then people start being like, why is a centre back taking a penalty? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, definitely, I don't think it was really like the penalty selection, but maybe like the in-game choices that led to us having those players available to take penalties, and not some of the names that you'd expect to potentially see there, or you'd want to be seeing there if you're an Arsenal fan. But yeah, all in all, like, it sounds like the chat was, as I was joining the pod, like, there's been a lot of gaslighting and delusion throughout this season. Oh, Arsenal fans said they were going to win the quadruple. We didn't. Arsenal fans said they're going to win the Champions League. We literally didn't. I think every Arsenal fan wanted the Prem. And I think, you know, how greedy can you be? The answer is very greedy. I was very disappointed when I watched that penalty take out the poor lady in Rosette, who was on her phone trying to take a little Snapchat story or whatever. But ultimately, football, you know what I mean, someone's got to lose the game. Do you know what I mean? And PSG are a fantastic side. Everyone said they'd absolutely mollywop us and it would be a scarring finish. And Inter Milan last year, their man are not us. We are the Arsenal. Respect yourselves. And I think seeing the flipping shameless twerking that some rival fans were doing to try and turn a very cagey 120 minutes, no open play goals from the best attacking side in the world, and an unfortunate end to a penalty shootout and a great Champions League run, to try and turn that into something that you can try and make jokes or mock or banter. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's your prerogative, but like late at night when you stop scrolling Instagram and the sporf and the troll football memes aren't like right in front of your face anymore, you're going to remember you support a side that's going to play like 44 games next season. And that makes me happy.
Yeah, you don't.
I also saw certain let's say YouTubers that are supporting big clubs trying to talk about this was not a special season, it was not a unique season in any kind of fashion. I have no idea what they're talking about. They barely, I mean,
proof is behind you, man.
Exactly. This was most certainly, yeah, it was not unique in that no one's ever done it before, but no one's done anything. Like, if I really want to talk about unique, I'll talk about the Invincibles. I'll talk about history if I really want to. But at the end of the day, this is definitely a rare season because of the fact that we haven't fucking done it for 22 years. And unfortunately, Antony, you haven't done it in 13 to 14. So, you know, when you win the next time as well, and I'm not even mocking you, like I'm saying, when you win it the next time, if someone tries to come and tell you it's not a unique or special thing, you can tell them to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I did see that content. I think what the problem was, I understand what they were trying to say. They just don't have the vocabulary to get out what they're trying to actually articulate, right? Because 22 years winning a league, of course it's special for you, man. You're losing your shit celebrating 3 times in 10 days. And if we at 13 years, I'm sure a lot of United fans would want to do something similar. Even though it's not 22, it's still a very long time. People will go crazy. So it is. I just think they can't phrase it. But there's been a lot of disingenuous chat from both rivals and some Arsenal fans around this whole thing. You should be happy. You should be celebrating. You should be able to give banter out. That's what happens when a team wins the league. Do you guys think we were
in the chat? Who do you support?
Someone rattled you.
Are you like in the chat? Who do you support? Write it down.
Liverpool rightly were able to banter all of us. Sadly, Khem is the representative within our group chat, so it's even worse. But you know, it's fair game. That's what happens when you win the league, right? That's just how it goes. So you lot should be able to give it out, because best believe Arsenal fans have taken a lot of flack, not just this season, but for a big period of time. So yeah, it's game's a game, man. This is football. I don't know why suddenly the rules are changing and people are going all weird about it. It's just the way it's going to be. But
just one more thing. Talking about being weird about it, bro. Did you see in the Telegraph they were talking about the fact that the broadcast was too Arsenal centric against PSG on a UK broadcast?
Yeah.
They're really scraping the bottom of the fucking barrel at this point. All right, you support Madrid. I'm not going to chat to you too much, but your current team, bro, you need to deal with a dictator.
Look at Khem. Khem's fighting your battle in the chat. Let him deal with him. But big up Iron. Thanks for tuning in, bro. But yeah, Madrid, Hala Madrid. I don't know how much any of us can argue with that.
Ask him about what do you mean? Ask him about Rice, bro. Why are we trying to act humble right now?
Don't. All right. Don't. You're crossing over in the shameless side from like 18 months ago section. Let's move on. Let's move on.
18 months ago is shameless. But I've heard so much.
No, Madrid, bro. Come on, man.
And 20.
Madrid.
No, I'm just saying. We're talking. Anyway, carry on.
I'm not trying. Let's not cross over to them other pods and that crazy stuff with France flags and Spain flags and all this kind of bollocks. We're a proper pod, mate. All right, let's move on to a special segment. It's post-season awards. So we've got what? 1, 2, 3. We've got 7 categories. We're not going to do too many. So we've obviously got player of the season. Young player of the season, under 21 or under, basically. Manager of the season, most improved player, most disappointing player, best signing, flop signing. All of us have voted. We'll start off with the flop signing because let's build up to player of the season. That's the one that's going to get everyone's juices going and, rattle some pages when Nash didn't vote, of course. So we got 6, right? Yeah. But big up Nash nonetheless. All right, we'll start with flop signing. All right, this was about as resounding as we got, which I said to IO off air. We didn't get any category where everyone voted the same person. So it wasn't like team of the season. We always got some split votes here. But I think this is because we had a nice choice of 100 million plus signings that absolutely shat the bed. But 2 of us went for not this player, but 4 of us went for Florian Wirtz Squirts. I won't say the other hate name because I'll get cancelled. So what do you man make of that? Florian Wirtz, 4 of us have voted flop signing of the season. Hard to argue, right?
He stinks. He stunk. He stinks.
Trash.
He stinks.
Trash. He is.
He stinks. And I reckon he's going to stink next year. Just getting that one in early. I don't think he's up to it. He looks like 100+ million version of Fabio Vieira sometimes in that team. It is absolutely unconscionable that they paid that amount of money for him. And I had to there's a video online, Arian, about 50 Arsenal fans answering that question. Go look it up, mate. Yeah, Wirtz absolutely stinks. Stunk all season, stunk from the word go, stunk when they said he was homesick. Then he went home to Germany and played pretty fucking well, and then came back to Liverpool and stunk. And we said we'd be there no matter what. In fact, the only thing that could have saved Wirtz from how badly he stunk was how bad Isak stunk. But he snapped his leg in 2 halfway through the season, so I think we actually have to let him off on that basis. So Liverpool, number 1, number 2. I reckon they could have got top 3 selected. All the honours up there in terms of worst signings if we really push the boat out. But yeah, stinky.
Can we deep? How can Didi Hamann and Emre Can be better German players for Liverpool than 125 words? We need to. A serious conversation needs to be had, and I want Kevin to be able to the same comments and Vim. He can be commenting on the live stream. That's exactly it. One of the worst signings we've seen in a very long time. He's young. Yes, there was maybe Slot's not a good manager. But to be as as Razor said, to be that inept and just look so lost. Literally look like a little boy playing against men. And we saw literally a little boy and Max Dowman play against men and look way better. Like, there is just...
Oh, Dowman versus...
No, but we don't even have to make it like that. We literally saw a little boy in their own team. We saw a little boy in their own team make a bigger impact, get bigger cheers off their crowd than their 120 million pound star boy. So some challenges need to be made.
Yeah, biggest worst signing, flop signing, easily.
And the scary thing is, he was meant to be bought for this idea that the bald man had of what the future of Liverpool looked like, and the bald man's not there anymore. So I wonder if the new gaffer is going to have time for this luxury midfielder who seems to float around the field, not get stuck in, not really impact the game in many ways, to the point where the Athletic is having to like do up top level journalism defenses of him about, you know, he really impacts the game. Yeah, anyway, I could talk about how bad he was this season all evening, and I feel like there are other things to talk about on this. So yeah, flop of the season should have been unanimous in my opinion.
Yeah, the only thing I'm gonna give him some grace in the fact that he's young, right? So we come back next season and no, wait, let me finish my point. Let me land, right? In that we can come back in 5 years' time and we might not necessarily say he was a bad signing. But the point is, this is the worst signing of this season so far, right? And for 125 million, breaking the transfer record, my man did not deliver what he's supposed to deliver. And if people want to say, oh, he's young, he's getting used to the league, that's fine. But then you should have paid 70 million for him, right? You should not have paid 125 million for somebody that's going to come in and basically look like they don't know how to play football in an English environment, right? So from that point of view, I know that Liverpool fans will be saying this. They'll be trying to say like, oh, you know, he is, he's young, he's got time. Oh, it was in a lot of turmoil within the club, this, that, and the other. Well, I'm sorry. Other players coming in, Szoboszlai at right back, I know we mock it all the time, but he's literally not even playing his own position to look better than you, right? You had Kirkes, who was started off stinky, ended up looking better than you. You have a variety of youngsters in terms of Rio and Gamoa. They came in, they look better than you. So from that point of view, it's like, you don't really have that much of a leg to stand on. The only thing you can try and do, maybe Liverpool fans, if they want to, they can try and put forward Frimpong as the worst sign of the season. But even then, Frimpong was 125 million. So I think they do have to just hold it. Not to say that he's like now doomed and he will never be a good player in the future, but you have to hold the fact that this was the worst signing that we saw in this season. It was one of the biggest for a big name coming from a team that has actually accomplished something they've probably never or very rarely accomplished before. Coming into the Premier League winners, and you lot finished fifth, and he was a big part of why you were stinky. He's not the only part, but a big part.
Now, Johns, I'm gonna have to say, on a rare occasion, you're being too kind. You're being way too kind. We can't say he's too young. I know he could if we want to be super understanding and reasonable, but this is football. People aren't reasonable when it's the rest of our players when they come in for less money than this, right? And don't make me start channeling, you know, my inner Sol Campbell and say, is this a colour thing? Because why are we not hammering Verts? When it was my La Pioche, he's getting pelters from everywhere after 4 assists in one game. Graham Souness is being like, this is bullshit. Florian Wirtz is 23, bro. You're right. You've just talked about actual young players coming in and playing at different teams. They all get grace, no problem. The only grace he gets is coming from a foreign league. But can we all say that we haven't signed players from outside the Prem and they've come in and done better than this for way less money? We've all seen it. Even the players that I've lambasted on here, right? Which, you know, there's some famous ones, right? That gets Jonty quite upset. He's had a way better season, and I still don't think he's great. But Florian Wirtz, I'm looking at the stats right now. 33 appearances plus 6 of a sub. Well, that's not possible. That's 39. So it must be 33 within that is 6 on a sub. He's got 5 goals and 3 assists. And it's so bad that I can't remember any of them happening. So I think these numbers are dodgy. He's been an absolute shambles, bro. And the only way anyone else gets somewhere close is like Razor said with the Isak stuff. But that's harsh because he did actually break his leg. we should give him shit for not turning up and being ready to play, and all the memes going out about him, when he was doing his fitness tests and all that kind of stuff. But Florian Wirtz, next season he can turn it around. That's the thing I will give him. He can definitely turn it around. We've seen players come in and be absolutely stinky first season, but have no doubts. If next season doesn't improve, this will be the biggest bust the Prem has seen to date, by far. We can throw away Pepe's and all the terrible ones that we've had, Sancho's and Antony's and all these dons. Terrible.
I was going to
say, I agree.
The Beyblade's name.
No.
Beyblade's name.
I did. I said it, bro. You just got rattled when I said Pepe. All those guys, Pepe's harsh. Sancho should be the top of my list, but I might have agenda. Beyblade, Antony, my unfortunate namesake, definitely goes in there. This is 115 million, right? That even those other players got bought for substantially less than that. So I hear it, man. It should have been Wirtz from everyone. And I get it. Khem's the only one who can't just be unbiased in this situation. But all right, he voted. He did his Nash settings. He did Reinders, which also has been a bad signing. But it's been a bad signing. But come on, there's levels. Wirtz was 115. Reinders was 40 million or something. Come on, man. It's just disingenuous. And Reece was just ruthless. He voted Isak anyway, regardless of injury, which is fair enough. But I think it should have been Wirtz unanimously. All right, let's go on to best signing then. All right, this one, best signing. We had a split vote. We had one vote for Antoine Semenyo, which is fair. Didn't really see that one. It wasn't really in my thinking. We had Eli Krupi Jr. We can all guess who voted for that. And then we had Khem, again, obviously voted Ekatike, which at the beginning part of the season wouldn't have looked that crazy, but, he's got injured and done what he done in the second half of the season. But the winner with 3 votes is Granit Xhaka. So what do you, man, say about that? Jonts, you voted for him. What do you make of Granit Xhaka for Sunderland this season?
It's mad, like Sunderland. It's very rare, first of all, that a promoted team stays up. It's even more rare that a promoted team stays up and looks really good and actually finishes in a decent spot. And I think a big part of that is because of the signing of Granit Xhaka, right? I think obviously there are other signings within that too, in terms of Mukiele and some other players that they've got that are really, really good. I know you're obviously your favourite in Brobby and a couple of others like Siddiqui and so on and so forth. So it is just overall a really good team. But I would say that he has galvanized those players to be a team. And I think this was one of the best things about him when he was at Arsenal. Again, likewise, he really galvanized a group of people, individuals, to actually play together as a team. And he did it with that tough love spirit, but also the arm around everybody. And I don't even want to belittle the fact that he's actually a really good footballer too. And I think you'll notice that when he played for them, not in the same way that everyone's trying to say about Jordan Henderson did it for Brentford when he played 5 matches for them, right? And everyone's trying to put the plaudits on him. Granit Xhaka actually played for that team, was a stalwart within it, and was arguably their best player throughout the entirety of that season, right? And it's a massive season. They did they not beat Newcastle both times?
Yep, and qualified for Europa League.
They beat Newcastle both times, qualified for Europa League, coming up.
It's mad, yeah.
Coming up with still a somewhat unknown manager, a couple of other players that we hadn't seen before. That's an unbelievable outcome. And I think the plaudits have to go to Granit Xhaka, because also the other thing is it came out of left field. I don't know if any of you guys, when you saw it, were you I could have seen that coming. I didn't fucking see that coming from a mile away. So for him to make that move and for it to pay off for him as well as it did for the actual team, I can't give anything else for that. And how much was it? I don't remember it being a massive number either.
10 million or something. It was a low
Mate,
amount.
that's a fucking steal. If they can find 10 more of those types of players this summer, they should buy every single one of them.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say is I was shocked at the time, but then when I realised Erik ten Hag was his manager at the time, understood completely. He got out of there ASAP. So fair enough to him. I hear it, man. But we talked about it last week, right? Because I think I voted for him in the midfield for team of the season. I said a lot of the similar things you said, Jonts. He's been transformational for that team. He helped bring in all the other players. And as soon as you see Granit Xhaka, like, all right, we've got a perception of him, and you lot probably a different perception as well as the actual fans of the team he played for when he was in England last time. But we've got the perception of him, which I think is very different than the rest of Europe. Because look at the impact. Man got like players from PSG, Leipzig, all these dons excited about going to Sunderland. No offense, right? But it's not a London-based club or something which sometimes can attract these big players anyway. He got them all the way up to the northeast. And yeah, man, they've had an incredible season. I think a lot of Brentford get a lot of plaudits very justifiably, but Sunderland this season have been unreal. But I think the other shouts in here are good. I think the Eli Junior Krupi one from Io is a good shout. He's been unbelievable for them. I think the Semenyo one was also a good shout. I think he really helped them, make a push for the title when they were stuttering before that. The Ekatike one, again, we've got an asterisk that one because Khem's obviously doing home team stuff. But I think, those I think are the obvious big shouts. I think I know Lammens won the one voted for by Premier League players, or the fans or whatever it was, the one that they announced. But I think we talked about it last week. It's only in context with the absolute clown that we had in goal beforehand. He didn't have the impact a Xhaka had, even a Semenyo had, or these players that have propelled their team to, achieve something they've never achieved or be part of a title race, etc. So, yeah, I think that makes sense. So Xhaka is the best signing, voted for by us. All right, most disappointing player we're going to have to decide because we've got a tie. This one was pretty split. We had one vote. Did we? No, we're not going to choose because one player actually got 3 votes. So I take that back. But we had one vote for Liam Delap. Rogue, very, very rogue. That came from Reese. But he did put in brackets, could be any Chelsea player. So that's fair enough. We had Florian Wirtz come up a couple of times, which, again, understandable. I think you voted for him and so did Khem, which, to be fair, he's actually being pretty fair on that one. But the winner with 3 votes is Liverpool's greatest ever Premier League player. His name is Mohamed Salah. John, what do you make of this? I think you voted for him. What's your thinking behind that one?
I think the drop off that's the big thing when it comes to disappointing, right? It's where did I expect them to be versus where they actually ended up. And I'll say for Delap, I expected him to be shit and he was shit. With Wirtz, I expected him to be better than he was, and he wasn't that great. But the gap between my expectation and how he actually performed was not as big as Mo Salah. You can't come off of a season that, breaking the record for how many records he's broken, and then now he's putting Instagram posts up every 5 minutes trying to get his manager sacked, right? He's doing all this madness. I do feel like that is a big disappointment, right? And I think you gave him this contract, 2 extra years, right? Against, I think, the better judgment of that, the laptop nerds at Liverpool. And I think that he did not perform in the way that you expected him to, right? Everyone's saying, oh, it's been such a big drop-off. And that just tells me, that solidifies it for me, that if we're talking about going from 20-plus goals and nearly breaking the assist record to, don't get me wrong, not a bad haul, right? If he were fucking Martinelli or someone else, I'd be like, oh, that's decent, right? But for him, I'm sorry, for the standard that he's set, for the way that the fans talk about him, for him being a Premier League legend, being put into conversations with Henry and De Bruyne and these man and that, I'm sorry, you've got to be doing it. You've got to get closer than you did to not be my most disappointing player. So if you think about it, Liverpool probably the most disappointing team from the point of view of they won the Premier League, so they finished 5th. Why did they win the Premier League? Because of Mo Salah. Why did they finish 5th? Not only because of Mo Salah, but he's a big part of it. And he's a big part of why their Premier League winning manager is now on the dole.
Yeah, on that very special unemployed Premier League manager dole, which is slightly better than the rest of us get. His stats, 27 appearances, 7 goals, 7 assists. So like you said, from a purely statistical standpoint, it's not absolutely diabolical, but for the high standards that he set, what was it? Like he had 19 assists last season or 18 assists last season, plus the 20 plus goals he got. It's a big drop off. Khem's just joined the pod just at the right time. What do you make of that? I don't think you voted for Salah. You voted for Wirtz. So, do you understand where Johnson's coming from, or are you going to give a defense of your greatest ever Premier League player?
What was the category?
Most disappointing player.
Who did I vote?
Bro, I literally started by saying you voted for Wirtz. Come on.
Oh, did I not put Wirtz as flop?
No, you didn't. You put flop sign and was Reinders.
Oh yeah.
Man can't even remember his votes.
Yeah, Jesus, no. Well, it was actually Wirtz, obviously, but Salah as the flop. Well, yeah, by his standards, I get where Jonty's. I don't know.
Not as the flop, the most disappointing. Words are important.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, I mean, he's done crazy numbers every year. He's been in the Prem. Like, it's been amazing. Like, he solidified himself. I think he's top 3 or 4. I think he's top 5 in goals. He's certainly in the top 10 in goals and in assists, which not many players are in both. He might actually be top 5 Premier League all time. So, remarkable numbers. And then coming off arguably his best season across the board, because his first season, he still got a lot of assists, but it was predominantly goals. And, for a lot of people, it was a bit of a surprise. Whereas teams will spend years trying to find a way to, deal with Salah. And yeah, it's been a horror show of a season for him and for the whole team, really. The crazy thing is, we're that bad. He was still probably one of our best players, certainly our most creative, certainly our most dangerous. So it just says it all. I think I called it at the end when I joined, where he said the whole group as a whole stunk it up. So I can hear you saying it was a massive disappointment from him. I'm not gonna fight that. That's his opinion, and that's cool, because it's not an outrageous take based on the levels that he's had. So yeah. Could his numbers have been better? Probably should have been, but I think he had a lot of matches where he obviously got phased out, stuck on the bench, and missed a few matches with AFCON, and then he got injured a couple of times, especially towards the end. So it's just been a mess of a year for him. Not really playing close to goal like he's used to. He's been shifted further wide to accommodate for Wirtz, the genuine disappointment. So it's a bit of everything, really. But yeah, it's not outrageous. I think it's either one of them. I'd say Wirtz, Squirts, Salah. Isak needs to get a better PT, or whoever he was using, because he did break his leg, but fucking hell, either side of that, the guy the guy's just, the whole pre-season chatter was a bit annoying, because it's like, you're still a professional athlete, it's still your job to stay in shape somewhat. So yeah, but yeah, in terms of Jonty's take, not that wild. I'm not gonna begrudge it. It doesn't take away from what he's achieved. He still scored. He still scored in a cup final, which certain people can never say they have done. He still delivered in Europe, which, behind me, one of these he still came back with, which certain people didn't do. He didn't Kevin Durant the situation and go running. So he had a disappointing one, but at least he got a good send off and didn't go running.
Yeah, I think I'm going to ignore that last part, but I think the Salah chat being the most disappointing player, I think it is a respectful thing. It's not like no one's talking about his legacy or anything like that. We're just talking about, off the back of last season, what do we expect? Even if we expected a bit of a drop off, he's fallen off a cliff compared to where he has been. And I hear some of what Khem's saying about the Arnie Slot not playing him, but he had enough game time to be able to do and produce more than he did. I think, yeah, he's definitely fallen off the cliff when it comes to the output that he's been used to. So I think I'm surprised more of us didn't vote for him, but I get the Florian Wirtz shouts. It makes complete sense. And Reece is just, generally rattled by the season. So I can understand where he's coming from. All right, let's go on to most improved player. So this one got interpreted in I can tell, looking at the votes, in a funny way, different ways, but for every person, I think. So we got a decision, but it was low scoring as hell. So we got 2 votes, was able to get you the dub in this category, which is disgraceful if you think about it. But we had votes for Casemiro. Jonty, you voted for him, which is quite funny, but I get the logic a little bit. We had a vote for Leandro Trossard, which came from you, Io. We had a vote for Danny Welbeck, came from Razor. I hear it. High scoring season he's having a good while. And then Khem voted for Bruno Fernandes, which, again, is funny, but I get it. In terms of outputs, it's higher than he's had in the majority of his seasons. But the winner with 2 votes is Man City's right back, Matheus Nunes, which I actually do get. We haven't really heard from you in this section yet. What do you make of that shout? Do you think it makes sense, or do you think people are gassing him a bit too much?
Yeah, I guess because he was very poor. So I think it's kind of like the reverse of getting from where your expectations were to what John said about Salah and then disappointing. So I guess like the reverse or the antithesis would be, Nunes was very poor and now he's, he had a pretty good season for City. Yeah, so now I can definitely see it. I think a lot of people have said that. I think I've seen that a lot. People saying Nunes has, been a lot better this year. Now I can understand people voting for him. I think I definitely, I don't know. I think I was still high off my Arsenal joy. I think when I put Trossard for sure, and as I said, he was actively playing against us in February. So to see what for him to come back and do that, I kind of based it post February on his most improved form. So it was it was definitely very much biased in how I saw it. I think Nunes makes sense completely, and I think everyone's shouts are pretty good. I think Welbeck's a good shout as well. I think Casemiro as well, considering Carragher said the game left him, and now he had like one of his best seasons. Yeah, so I think everyone's votes are pretty. The Fernandes one, I think, is a bit. I get it. No, I actually don't even get it. It's hilarious, but So I think all the votes are pretty valid. Pretty valid. That's it.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I think this category is the reverse of the last one. While we had high expectations for Salah and he underperformed, I think we had low expectations of Nunes. Like he was openly getting like really harsh comments from Pep in press conferences about how he's clearly not a midfielder, he doesn't have the intelligence and all this other stuff, which may be true, but imagine your gaffer came out and said that about you. It would sting. But I would say this season, he actually looks like a very, very respectable right back. I'm not going to go far in saying that he's like some top right back in the league. I don't think he is. But he's actually looks like he understands the position more. And going forward, I think he's been all right. So I hear it. But yeah, this one was tough to judge. Looking at everyone's votes, they've all got some sort of shout, so I get it. So we've crowned Matheus Nunes then with 2 votes as the most improved player. All right, manager of the season. So again, we didn't get unanimous. The manager who won this got 4 votes. We got 1 vote for Regis Labris. We got 1 vote for Andoni Iraola, and then we got 4 votes for the winner of the category. It's Mikel Arteta. So, Jonty, do you want to give us your winning speech on behalf of your gaffer?
Fuck all of you lot that are Arteta out. Have that, you can.
He's been waiting on that one, and fair enough. And you know what? I gave the logic to Io just now, and I want Khem, I hope you're there, bro, in the background to hear me loud and clear. I was going to vote for Andoni Iraola, but luckily I made the decision just after he's been here we go'd for Liverpool, and we're starting the hate train now. Fuck your manager. I don't care about Spanish Antony anymore. He's a prick, and that's the reason why I swapped and defected over to Mikel Arteta in this category.
That's crazy. I voted from when he was Bournemouth. Like
I know. But
so you collect our votes and want them on time, but then you switch it up. Like,
bro, I was still within the deadline.
I'm glad it says under fire host, because it just that's just a permanent thing.
I knew it was going to come. I knew it was going.
It would have made a difference anyway, because it would have been 4v2.
So. Yeah, it would have been 3. It would have been 3-2 anyway.
But for him hating on his namesake, that's leave Dr. Octavius alone. All right.
No more Spanish Antony.
He's not even been officially announced yet, and he's still.
Doesn't matter. As soon as I saw the rumors, I was preparing myself for what needed to be done. And you shall receive more of this hate regularly throughout next year. on your manager. He's not
Stop shaking.
Not Spanish Antony anymore.
Get his towel. Warm up. Borrow his towel. Warm up.
I would like to second Jonty's fuck yous to all the ops, to all the haters, to Khem by name, to Io if he wasn't included in any of the groups before. And I would like to thank the Basque country. And they can have Zubimendi back at some point, but Arteta stays. Yeah. Nah, absolutely unreal. I think just because of how much everyone doubted him. Oh, what stage of the fucking process is this? Oh, Glasner's gone to this. Dip. And now you all just have to hold your humble paella and shut the fuck up. And that makes me very happy. And don't let him win another one, because I kept all my stupid agenda shit for Gyökeres versus Drogba and Zubimendi versus Gerrard. But let Arteta get his hands on another one. We're going to start having real uncomfortable convos. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Io, as the in-house Arteta hater that I think these lot were shouting at, what's your read on it?
It's actually, I was gonna say the humble pie is being humbled, because I was one of the Arteta voters, and I think it's a sudden choice. It's funny what a Premier League title does to a person. Completely shifts your opinion on a man. So obviously I think my gripes about Arteta was very well publicized and very well known. But yeah, if you deliver a title to Arsenal Football Club for the first time in 22 years, there's only one person that deserves to become manager of the year. So will I still hold my apprehensions over the man? Maybe so. As I said, you'll see me in September. But for now, my happiness and my joy is I'm overcome with joy. It's there. It's definitely got a good place in my heart, and yeah, exactly. Like, he's manager of the year easily for me, and yeah, as you can see from the backgrounds these days, that celebration is tied to Arteta forever now. So that's all. In a way, that means I am as well. So pause. Also, but
welcome to Arteta sexuality. We've been waiting for.
But yeah, no, he's done well. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, well played to Gaffer. He's delivered the title. So yeah, I came around in the end.
It seems like just until September. All right, so we'll wait. Tune back in, folks that are tuned in. We'll see what the vibe is in September. All right, Mikel Arteta wins manager of the season. I think that makes total sense. He finally got over the hump and managed to get the title. What was it? The bridesmaid thing that the Liverpool fans were doing. I saw you lot had a flag about that in the parade. Fair enough. Game's a game. He got over, and he's got one Premier League. A lot of big legendary managers, in some eyes, have got one Premier League. So yeah, there will be.
Can we also say that he is now the only manager to have won the Premier League, currently managing in the Premier League?
It's true. Yeah. He can do the Mourinho and just do one finger and say, I've got more Premier Leagues than all the rest of the managers. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Young player of the season, under 21. Again, 4 votes. So we've got a clear winner, but it wasn't unanimous. So we had 2 votes for Nico O'Reilly, and we had 4 votes for the clear winner. And there's only one person I can ask about this, and his name is Io, because it's your favourite player of the moment. It's Eli Junior Krupi. He's got 4 votes, so now you can wax lyrical about him. Go on, Io.
Bring him to the Emirates. Just bring him to the Emirates. You know why is that? Bring that Bournemouth shirt. He scored the goal against City as well at the same time. Don't leave that in Bournemouth. Bring him. What a player! Nah, what a season. I think from early on you could see it, but yeah, if anything, I feel sorry for Iraola to have to go from that to seeing White's in training now. I think that's going to be an absolutely humbling experience for him. But no, Krupi he's a player. I think the talent is real. You can see he plays, like the confidence. I think he's 19 or something, isn't he? It's something stupid like that. To be like he never looks phased. Like his finishing is just out of this world. Like his first touch, just everything about him just screams like an absolute footballer. And yeah, I think definitely he's got a big move this summer. I think I've seen him linked to like PSG, and obviously there's links to Arsenal as well. So hopefully, I think if we snap him up, I think that would be the signing. And yeah, when he plays left wing, I shall be coming back to this conversation again as well, because some people, because the dictator of dictators told me I can't play left wing, but I'm sure when he lands at left wing Faster Football Club next September, we'll see where we're at with it. But no,
you'll be able to vote for him then. You'll be able to vote for him. That's all I ask.
But no, he's a talent, man. I think O'Reilly's good, but I think Creepy I think he was phenomenal, and easily for me.
I think he's got the stats. Sorry, Razor, before I throw it over to you. I think he's the highest scoring player under 21s or something in Europe's top 5 leagues, 13 goals. I think he overperformed. I love the XG. He overperformed the XG by crazy amounts. He got like 6 or 7 goals, which I know we look into stats too much, but that does point to what you're saying, Io, about the finishing quality. It means he's burying chances that aren't even chances, which even if you look at the City one, that's a half chance. He's on the edge of the box and he curls it into the side netting. There were lots and lots of goals like that. So as much as I voted Nico O'Reilly, but the Kroopy shouts are not crazy. They make complete sense. Go on, Razor.
I think the really interesting thing about this category especially was that it completely puts to bed what Jonty was saying when he was being quite generous about the flop signing of the season. You got Nico O'Reilly, had a big season. He's 21, playing left back, centre mid, left wing, wherever Pep flipping feels like. Basically, he's got 5 goals, 3 assists. You've got Kroopy had this season, which is unreal. I'm glad that we weren't doing the weird young player of the season thing where it starts getting a little bit older and a little bit older, because then you start running into players like Shirky and stuff. But yeah, I think like 21. It was 21 that it was capped at, right?
Yeah.
I think there were a couple, like O'Reilly's a good shout. I think one of your favorite players from this season, or at least favorite FPL players from this season, Coyote as well, had a big season. But I don't think you can give it to anyone other than Kroopy, just for like the sheer, just like not just goals, like not just the numbers, like you were saying, without getting to like XG and like obsessing over like half chances and stuff. But some people really like stats. I do like stats. I'm an eye test guy, and I think a proper eye test metric that they're now making more statistics for and like attaining more metrics on is how much of a big game player you are. And at 19, to be that much of a big game bad man, I think had to be him. I think like he's done it for the side that were often the underdogs, or almost always the underdogs in some huge matches. He's had unbelievable games against Arsenal, City, and I think I was right. I think he's going to get a big money move, but if he doesn't, he's going to be really key in what Bournemouth are able to do next season. So it depends on what their policy is, if they change their attitude and their approach to holding on to their best names. But I think even if they did want to hold on to all of their top players, it'd be really difficult for them to hold on to him.
Yeah, let's not forget that they finished 6th as well, right? We talked about how Sunderland did so well. I know Bournemouth have been good, but this is Bournemouth, right? They lose players all the time. Like Kroopy was a major part in them almost getting Champions League. They don't even have a stadium fit for Champions League, and that guy played a big part for them to get close to Champions League, right? So you have to put it in perspective. Yeah, go on, Aya.
I think he bagged, and I was going to add, I think he bagged against us, City, United. Like the man was just taking names, bro. Like it just at 19 to just be that confident and just to just not like shy away from anything. I think that's just, he's just got a mentality, and at 19 to look like that, I think that's I mean he looks special.
The only other thing I'd say to him is like he rarely started games as well. Like the biggest thing is like he was coming off the bench. I think he's like in the 99th percentile for actual goals per 90 as well. Because even though he's got 33 matches or 33 appearances, I think most of them are coming off the bench. And he is the definition of taking that chance, and doing something with it. I do think there should be a shout out also within that Bournemouth team to Ryan, because technically he would be eligible for this as well. Because I think he's only 19 too. But yeah, he just obviously hasn't had it maybe as much of a chance to make that impact. But yeah, that Bournemouth team is stacked full of some really nice talent. And I agree with you. And I think obviously the jump for Bournemouth has been good too. I think last year, they finished like 9th. So for them to go from there to where they finished this year, I think it is really impressive. And I would argue that he is a massive part of that, obviously. And if we were nearly going to give manager of the season to Antony Iraola without all of his, let's say, Liverpool dealings now, a large part would have been because of Krupi and because of a couple of other players in that team.
Yeah, Ryan's cold. I think he's going to be one of their next big sales, but I think he only joined in the Jan right after Semenyo. So I think Krupi had the whole season to impress. So I think he just about nicks it. But he's a killer. He's a killer.
With Ryan, do you see that there's apparently going to be like £130 million release clause that will go in, like become active in September if nobody already buys him during the summer. So he might be one that moves, that a big team will move on soon and take a risk on. So if they are going to sell any of these players, I have a feeling that they're getting prepared within those contracts to make a huge amount of money off the back of them.
Oh, they will. This is not their first rodeo. I swear they made like 70 million off Sabani or whatever. That doesn't even play most of the time for PSG. These guys are serious, man. So, I'm not shocked to hear that. But yeah, Krupi, top class youngster. I also did you, man, see the story that he turned down Portugal going to the World Cup? So he's got minerals, man. He's waiting for the France call up. And he turned down Portugal. And let's not mess around. He's definitely going to get more opportunities than Ramos, whoever the backup is to Ronaldo. He's definitely going to be their backup striker, if not play. So, I kind of respect that, low-key. All right, let's move on to player of the season. So this went the way I thought it was going to go. Fragmented, but it all made sense. Unfortunately, we don't have a clear winner. We had votes for Saliba, Raya, Declan Rice, Bruno Fernandes.
So plot twist. I did. Was I able to change my vote? Or was it too late?
But we're literally in the middle of it now. So you asked me and then didn't do it before we kicked off. So we're going to have to go with what you said. Me.
Dictator.
All right.
Dictator hands back.
What I did do is, because we got 2 votes for Bruno Fernandes and 2 votes for Declan Rice. So I'll ask you now, Io, as one of the people who didn't vote for either one of them, would you choose Rice or Bruno?
You see what life. You see when a dictator tries to ruin you, you come back with it. Well done,
bro.
Of course,
I'm asking you.
No, I respect you. I appreciate it. I respect your fairness. But we're going for one man. We're going for one
right.
boy. We're going for big Declan Rice.
So Declan Rice has now got 3. I asked Kemmel earlier, because he was another person who didn't vote for Declan Rice or Bruno Fernandes. He voted for David Raya. And that boy voted for Bruno Fernandes. So we're still at a deadlock, 3-3. And we're going to have to put it out for the few subscribers that we have in the comments or whatever. Decide. Bruno Fernandes and Declan Rice both got 3 votes. This is what was always going to happen when you've got so many different players that have played so well. Right, like it's always going to fragment the vote, and that's what's going to happen. That's why in our one of our group chats, I was saying it's all bluster, because it's just the way the season's gone, and you guys have got lots of options, and when other teams have just got one option, you're going to have, it's like a presidential election or something like that. People just zone in on the one person that they can vote for, rather than voting for the many. Because I think Saliba, Rice, they're all valid shouts. None of them are laughable at all. They're all proper. There's complete credence behind all of them. But we're stuck at 3-3. Jonty, as someone who did vote for Declan Rice, here's your chance for a plea for the crowd to vote Declan Rice in the comments.
I'm not gonna try too hard, because at the end of the day, like, the people that will support are Arsenal fans, and the people that won't are non-Arsenal fans. And unfortunately, there are more non-Arsenal fans than there are Arsenal fans. So I'm not going to try too hard here. But from the point of view of, this is a player that I think everyone will argue, is the rightful captain of Arsenal. He is the person that essentially makes that team tick. I don't think we've played a single game without him touching the pitch when he's been fit. And as a result, I think you've seen what we've been able to do this season. And yeah, people want to say that our attack is not great and our defense is really good and this, that, and the other. And they obviously want to put a lot of the plaudits on our actual defenders and goalkeeper. But I don't think people truly are watching Arsenal if they don't think that Declan Rice is a massive part of the reason why our defense is really good. He's all over the place all the time. I think you will see it in the PFA. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that he's the player that I think most of the other players respect in terms of the fact that he is literally everywhere all the time. Yes, there are things that he can add to his game, but I think you'd argue with Bruno Fernandes and other players, there is a lot to add to their games too. And I think out of all of the options that we've discussed, he is the most well-rounded player in terms of he can literally do pretty much anything you want him to do. And when people talk about the attacking part of it, don't forget he's a massive part of the reason why our set pieces have been so good. Because I don't know if you lot have seen, look at Noni Madueke take a corner. All right? It ain't easy. Okay? So just when you see Rice putting it on a fucking 5 pence all the time, respect the technique that is required to do that. So, yeah, I think hopefully people will see sense here, but I think Declan Rice's resume and what he's done for Arsenal speak for themselves.
Yeah, I hear it, man. I think you not just had so many options. If like I get what you're saying, and I agree. Rice has had a very good season. I think there's some weird like PR out there against Rice stack, like he's not had a very good season. I think he's had a very good season, but I think David Raya's had an exceptional season. I think Saliba's had like amazing second half of the season, pretty good first half of the season as well. I think Gabriel could be thrown in, but the opposite way around. Exceptional start of the season, and then pretty good to very good second half of the season. So all your candidates in defence that we've just mentioned, plus Declan Rice, I think have a very good shout at winning player of the season, whether it's PFA or social media derby one. With the Bruno Fernandes one, this is going to sound crazy, yeah? But if you look at his stats, I think this season hasn't been... Like, I get the United fans are going really big because he's won the assist record and everything like that. But if you look at the chance creation and all the other things that he's done, he's had seasons similar to this. I think what you've just seen is that a bunch of attackers who are more proficient when it comes to putting away chances than Højlund and fucking Antony and Jadon Sancho and all these other guys that we've had. Aside from Rashford's exceptional season, we haven't had, attackers in the position. They're in the position, but they're just not finishing their dinner. And this season, we had more forwards. If you look at the three that we bought in the summer, they all got double digits goals. So that tells you where we've really improved in the team. And Bruno's kept performing in the same way that he has before. Casemiro as well is another one. He almost got 10 goals as well this season. I think he finished with 8 or 9. So yeah. I think the season going the way that it has, it propels Bruno into this conversation, and it will either be one of the Arsenal lads, probably Declan Rice is what seems like the public choice for Arsenal's top player to get into this discussion, and Bruno Fernandes. That will be who I think the winner will be for the PFA or whatever the one that we're waiting for to be announced. And I'm not bothered either way. I think it's not a crazy decision either way. But you do see more of the time the Premier League winning team get their best player to win the award. There has been some times where it hasn't. David Ginola being the most scandalous, I believe. I think, but even then, I'll be really unbiased. There was a year Giggs won it, and Giggs had no business winning it. So sometimes it goes that way. But yeah, Bruno and Declan Rice is the two players that we've chosen through a deadlock to be our player of the season. We'll see who the crowd pick. All right, let's go on to the final segment of the episode. We've obviously got the World Cup starting next week. We could support England, but apart from that, we ain't got that many choices based on all of our heritages of teams that are in the World Cup. So we thought we'd do a World Cup draft. We did this separately off camera because we obviously don't get everyone to join every single pod. So the logic behind it was we were going to pick one team from 4 seeded buckets. So we started out with the top seeded teams in the World Cup. So you had Argentina, France, Spain, Portugal, Brazil, England, Germany, Netherlands, Morocco, Belgium, Croatia, Colombia. We picked one team from that batch, and then we cascaded it down with the lower ranked teams. We did a randomizer. Our brother Io won on the randomizer and was the first pick for the first top seeded group. Io, do you want to reveal who you selected from that top seeded group?
From my memory, I believe Allez les Bleus.
You know damn well who you picked. Yeah, you picked France. All right, Reese is not here. He was second. He picked, again, no-brainer, Spain. So that's who was picked by Reese. Kemmel, who did you pick for your first pick?
Portugal.
That's correct. You did. You picked Portugal. All right. So Kemmel picked Portugal. I picked Brazil, which I don't know why I did that actually, but you know what? F it. The way they did that draft, or not the draft, but they did that kind of the selection on the TV and had all these men crying. I love it, man. Emotion. That's what World Cup's about. So I picked Brazil. Jonty, who did you pick with your first draft pick?
For the audio listeners, I'm holding up an England shirt.
Yeah. Jonty has picked the hometown team. Razor, who have you picked with your first pick?
I would like to take this opportunity to say that I do not recognize this randomizer or the results of its choices. I think it's bullshit, personally. To answer the question, Germany.
Yeah. It's not a bad pick, to be fair, but that does mean Argentina was left on the table. Netherlands was left on the table. Khem's favorite, Morocco, was left on the table. Belgium was left on the table. Croatia, Colombia. So, yeah. I don't think any of those picks are crazy. All right, second seeded group. We had teams like the USA, Uruguay, Iran, Ecuador, Austria, Australia, South Korea, Mexico, Norway, Japan, Senegal, Turkey. Io, do you remember who you picked? Do you want to also share who you wanted to pick but weren't allowed to?
Yeah, I didn't understand this whatsoever. This whole rule thing just was... I'm so glad I got the first pick because I would have been absolutely rattled. Now, I wanted Japan because I believed in the boy Kamada, and then you told me that I didn't get to... Japan was taken. So, this might sound like I was just being very much homogenous to the area. I've then followed up by picking South Korea. But there was a reason to it. Shout out Hong-Min Son. I don't like him after he did for Tottenham, but I believe out of the choices, I thought that was my next viable pick, really.
You really said I can't have them Asians, I'll have the other ones. That's crazy work.
Yeah.
Well, I was panicking.
As part of that delegation, I 100% think he said they all look the same. I'm picking these lot.
Definitely not. That's so rude. No, that is so rude. I looked at the second seed you gave me, and I was like, apart from Japan, I was like, no, I couldn't see Japan. And I was getting angry because I was like, why is Japan not interested? Japan's gone. And I was like, what do you mean Japan's gone? And then when I looked again, I just saw South Korea's the only one that kind of stuck out to me, really. So it wasn't to do with that, but it was. I'm not helping myself, but yeah.
No, you haven't. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Before we all get cancelled on this one, yeah. Reese. Yeah, exactly. With all the culture vulture talk going around, we got to be careful these days. All right, Reese has gone for Mexico, which he was actually the first pick in this round because we tried to be fair about it and move it around so that the next people in the randomizer could get a chance to be first pick. So he picked Mexico. Khem, who did you go for, bro?
Switzerland.
No, that's the next seed. You Wally. You went for Norway. But yeah, it's all good. Yeah, you went for Norway, which I get. That's a good pick, strong pick. You got. He
did the other thing. He said, "I don't want them, man. I want those other men."
Yeah. Yeah, he went nuts. But I hear it's Norway's a good pick, I think. I went for, North London, near where I am. Had to go for Turkey. So I think also the problem with this is I was looking at the groups that all the teams are in, and I picked a different team that are in the same group as Turkey for my third seeded pick. So I thought, okay, this is sabotage. If I pick two teams in the same group, I'm going to be in trouble here or hedging my bets. So I went with Turkey for this one. Jonty, who did you go for out of interest? He's got shirts of every team that he's going to pick.
Audio listeners, that is Japan. Hold that, Io.
Now this makes so much more sense. Now I realize.
Oh, now you want to claim Japan.
No, I have
I'm fucking taking them. You should see my fucking third and fourth picks, mate. They stink. The
viewers I'm glad that you appreciate Japan now. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. He's turned a corner.
I was like, why are my options so bad? And now I understand why they were. I had no idea how this thing worked whatsoever.
We had to wait so long for you to make your picks. Honest
to God, it's all making so much more sense. I was like, when I'm hearing all you guys teams are like, oh, they sound baller.
I thought the NFL draft was long, but
I was going to say, if we did the NFL draft for this, they're all packing up going home by the second round because we had to wait a while for Io to send through his picks. All right, so Japan got picked by Jonty. Razor, who have you picked for your second seed?
Senegal.
Yeah, Loki. I think this is a super strong pick from all of that because Senegal. I swear they smoked England last year. They've been smoking teams. They look good, and obviously had the AFCON drama, which they should be winners of that, and I'm sure they will be again once CAS comes to a decision. But yeah, for someone who was treated not that nicely by the randomizer, I think you got a good pick there, Razor. All right. Third seeded group. Io, do you remember who you picked?
Yeah, as good as the getting France was, I feel like it just gets worse as it goes along. But no, third seed wasn't. I guess my option wasn't too bad. I went with Egypt, so not too bad, I guess.
Yeah, you went for Egypt. Reese went for Algeria, so he kept it North Africa. Khem, now you can reveal who your third seeded pick was that you've already shared. And you're on mute, so you're absolutely useless, bro. Fun doing that lot.
My thing's fucked. Right, there we go. Switzerland.
Yeah, all right. All the drama taken out of it. Yep, you went for Switzerland. All right, cool.
Man, it wasn't a shock.
Yeah. No, I know. I went for Sweden, so I'm backing Gyökeres. I'm going to be shameless. Come on, Gyökeres. He's going to be my star boy striker at the World Cup. And this is the problem. So I had first pick on this one, and I was I think it was recency bias because I just seen them qualify through the playoffs. They looked a bit better. I forgot completely that they were absolutely horrendous during the qualifying and only just got into the World Cup through that weird Nations League backdoor, very dodge qualification section. So, yeah, I think I've made a boo-boo in this one, but yeah, I'm praying for two victors, Gyökeres and Lindelof. They're gonna, which I know I'm fucked by having to support them two guys, but that is what it is. So I'm going for Sweden. Jonty, who's your third team? I know you haven't got a kit for this team.
I don't, and I would like to take back the fact that I said that my last two picks stink.
Yeah,
they don't stink. I take it back. I got Ivory Coast for my third team.
I thought this was a decent pick, man. Yeah, Ivory Coast. All right, Razor, your one.
I got Scotland, and I'm gonna get a John McGinn jersey or a McTominay jersey. Haven't decided yet.
All right, I like that someone else picked another Great British team in this selection because we have to support Scotland in some way. All right, so we got Scotland. Oh, come on, we can't just all support England in this.
You need to get a Kieran Tierney jersey.
He's trying to pick the good players, Jonty. So
you're shameless. I'm gonna get a screenshot of you doing the Gyökeres celebration at some point during this World Cup.
Bro, I will do it. Bro, if he scores, I'm changing my tune. I'm telling you.
Jonty, you know I'm deeply scarred from watching Kieran Tierney play left wing at the Emirates.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right. Let's go on to the fourth and final seeded group. And I'm going to give you guys all the countries in this because, this is the beauty of a 48 country World Cup. Right, we had Uzbekistan, big up my Central Asian brothers. We had Qatar, we had Iraq, we had Jordan, we had Curacao, we had Jonty's New Zealand, we had Haiti, we had Cape Verde, we had Saudi Arabia, Bosnia Herzegovina, South Africa, Ghana. We had quite a selection for this one. So, Ayo, who did you go for?
I'm just hoping he still. I'm just hoping he still plays international football. I went for Bosnia, and I hope Edin Dzeko's still there.
Oh my goodness!
I can only hope he's still there. I didn't see Ghana as an option for me.
It's gone by the time you.
Of course it was. Yeah. Of course it was. Why was Ghana with those teams?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
It's the ranking, innit? They're international FIFA rankings. That's the only way to go.
They didn't qualify for AFCON. Maybe they fell down because of that.
yeah, it definitely is because of that. All right, you went for Bosnia and Herzegovina. I'm pretty sure Dzeko is going to play. So
I think he is there.
He's got to be pushing 40 though. So that's that's bro. That's almost as bad as my Gyökeres hope, but it's out there. All right,
respect on the Premier League champion there.
All right, Reese has gone for Haiti, which I love because that's just vibes, right? We got to support Haiti. I don't know, they got a good team, but I'm pretty sure, it's going to be tough out here for Haiti. But he's picked Haiti, so I respect it. Khem, who have you gone for with your fourth-seeded team?
If they were in that group, I wanted to go for Iran, but they weren't, because it would have been cool to root for them during this World Cup. But I went with Cape Verde.
Yeah.
Also some vibes.
Yeah, good vibes. Cape Verde. All right, cool. I went, and I've got a shirt for this. Fuck, I didn't prepare. I could have done a reveal like Jonty did.
Go get it.
No. It's too late. I can't be asked. I picked South Africa. So come on, Bafana. The boys, we got it. They're in a shocking group, by the way, so I have very low hopes for them. But you got to support them. I got first pick on this. So I went against, common sense, really, in not picking Ghana. I went completely biased with that one. Come on, South Africa. All right, Jonty, who did you go for?
I unfortunately do not have a shirt for this either. I actually have a shirt for their biggest haters. And I chose Ghana.
See, this is the thing. When John said my teams are not going to get better, he's actually got really good teams for the third and fourth seeded thing. I don't know why he said that. Ghana is clearly probably the strongest team in this selection, like Razor was saying.
Take New Zealand,
I know. I was sorry. Right there. I thought
I can't bank on Chris Wood again. I tried to put in my FPL team this year and it didn't go anywhere. So I'm not betting on my man anymore.
And that passport back, man.
That's card. Razor, to wrap it up, who did you go for with your fourth seeded pick?
I would like to take another opportunity to say that I do not respect or recognize the results of the randomizer. What is the opposite of picking on vibes?
Picking
Saudi. I picked Saudi Arabia.
Fucking hell.
Because
they've got vibes, bro. What are you talking about? You've been there.
They have got vibes.
Don't fucking patronize me.
Against Argentina.
No, you know what? You enjoyed your time there, so you picked them to
no, do you know what?
It's quiet, or we'll start talking about your job.
It's called picking on bribes. No more picking on vibes. You're picking on bribes now. Bro.
That is actually the vibes that I have gone with. So they're hosting the World Cup soon. They're simply not going to allow themselves to crash out without winning any games. Do you know what I'm saying? And if FIFA gave Donald Trump a peace prize, no, I don't have to say allegedly. They actually did.
Goddamn.
I feel like Saudi are going to win some games. Make of that what you will. I may be wrong. I don't think I'm right.
They beat Argentina last time. They beat Argentina last time again.
Exactly. And did that make you question things?
They gave us a great meme. Where is Messi? You might get another one.
Anyway,
all right. For context, though, Razor, let me just add for context. They're the group, right? So they're in Group H. So you've got Saudi Arabia, Razor's fourth team. You've got Cape Verde, Khem's fourth team, and then you've got Uruguay, and then you've got Spain.
Oh shit!
Yeah, they probably will get one win at least because they'll beat Cape Verde, but the other two,
wow,
who knows?
Third place qualification, baby.
Yeah. Third place gets through, so it might not be a crazy shout, to be honest. All right, so those are our teams that we've drawn for the purposes of the prediction that we'll do on the next week's pod. We'll be predicting the matches for all of our first seeded teams. So we'll be predicting France, Spain, Portugal, Brazil, England, and Germany games throughout the World Cup, and we'll have a prediction league like we did with the season that's just gone by, and we'll see who comes out at the top of the table. Obviously, Reece won the Premier League prediction league on correct scores. We'll see what the result is this time for the World Cup. We're also going to do a sweepstake, so we'll see if any of our teams manage to win the World Cup or get really far. But that's where the draw landed us, the draft, shall we say, and we'll predict the results next week and do, I guess, some transfers, because there's already been some transfers from some of our teams. I think United have got one over the line or close to. Liverpool obviously have a new manager now, which we'll have to talk through because it should be announced by then, and there'll be a bunch of other things. But yeah, we'll wrap up the pod here. So yeah, we'll catch you guys next week. But don't forget, before we leave, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, drop us a like, leave a comment, and share the video. And also, if you're listening on the podcasting platforms, please follow us, leave a 5-star review. All of that helps grow the pod. And yeah, we'll catch you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Take care.